Alright, so welcome to a new type of video. It's about a 20-ish minute video that actually consists of about 5 hours of footage cut down into very little. This is due to audio issues. I only got my audio on from that, and a lot of it is just me being quiet while my friends are talking over each other, as per the usual. But not that that matters. So, just go ahead and get started in on this first little bit. The black screen is just intentional inclusion so that I could explain what was going on. It's about 22 minutes long. This is the house I made. I just did a picture of it instead of showing me building it, as it took a while to make and wasn't worth showing all of it. This first little clip here is just running along, going over to Nash's jungle, kind of shows some of the trek between my beach house, the main house, and Nash's jungle hut. There's a lot of stuff coming in the next super episode, which comes immediately after this one, unfortunately. Yep, this is when we're in the jungle. We're arriving shortly at Nash's place. Yeah, so I recorded a huge number of videos, didn't check them, and there's audio issues. For whatever reason, you cannot hear my friends or the game. You can only hear me, and I'm going to be looking into that and hopefully getting it sorted out and fixed here soon. I believe in this clip I was going to help Nash with, because he didn't have enough rope, I was going to help him with getting down into and making a tunnel all the way down into the hell biome. I still don't remember what it is called. I was running back to my house at this point and it started to rain in the world, so there's a sandstorm in the desert. And because it was a corrupt desert, there's actually a corrupt sandstorm, which is really interesting. This is also where I discovered there is a semblance of wind in this game. If you run against the direction of the storm, you can't run as quickly. I was running back home at this point, if I remember correctly, and also ended up running into an angry tumbler, which is something very interesting for me. And also ended up... Let me move that. There we go. Getting stuck fighting a bunch of Eater of Souls, I believe. Right? Yep, Eater of Souls. Because I was waiting for Nash, I believe, at this point to show up because he wanted something, and I just ended up having to sit there and swing the fire mace? I don't remember what that thing was called. I don't have it anymore. Was running back home and saw that nice little text in the bottom left. The Queen Bee has awoken. Nash accidentally summoned the Queen Bee. At that point, we hadn't even fought the Eye of Cthulhu yet. So I decided, alright, teleport home. He's like, no, I died. He's like, alright, so maybe it won't go for me. It goes for Andrew, and then it goes for me. I see this boss bar, and I know I'm already dead. I do my absolute mediocre best at this point, because I had literally just a hat for armor. And died very quickly. We end up all meeting up back at the main house. I think we all end up just teleporting there. I dump a ton of my stuff off and then grab the stuff I wanted to keep on me anyway, including some bombs. And I run down, get over here, and I believe I make a golden helmet. Yes, which I end up giving to Andrew. He ends up being the first person with the full suit of armor. Albeit I completely forget to warn him. I should say that it summons the Eye of Cthulhu. If you're powerful enough, you can challenge it pretty much. And yeah, so because I gave him a full set of armor, it basically constituted us challenging him. I'm sure the Queen Bee looks like it's teleporting around a lot, but I'm pretty sure that's just bad connection. Because Nash's hosting is mediocre at best, but he's the one who we have to have host because he couldn't connect to us, so it's not a huge deal. And then we all end up dying, so the Queen Bee goes away. It's Flaming Mace, that's what it was called. And I run back home, eventually, slowly. And in running home, I do believe. This is still is just me running home. I don't know, it's been a couple days. It's been a day pretty much since I recorded this. Well, edited this, I should say, not recorded it. I'm trying to remember all the clips. I wish I could have did it on the day of doing it, but I didn't have enough time. Yeah, I run back to my house and start working on making a bed. It's annoying to try to do. Yeah, and after getting the silk around for making the bed, I believe I scroll around for a bit just looking for it. Yeah, probably. Oh, that's right, I was also looking for wood if I remember correctly. I ended up catching earlier on, I caught a fairy with my bug net, so I ended up putting it in a jar. I look for a place to put it. I don't get why you can't put stuff on the picnic table. I mean, maybe you can put food on there, but you can't like put the fairy in the jar or anything on there. So I end up just placing it by the picnic table. I go back to the main house and I'm like, okay, wait, what's going on? Why is everything funny? This funny grayish color. And I realized all the gravestones created a graveyard biome. Then I end up jumping down into the corruption and exploring it a little bit, as I was the only one at the time thinking about the Eater of Worlds fight, knowing how easy it was. At this point, I believe we already beat the Eye of Cthulhu. I don't know what happened to that clip, but it's gone now. I helped Andrew build his house because I'm the main builder in any game we play. I mean, it's kind of obvious, especially from Satisfactory videos, which I know I haven't uploaded one of those in a bit. All I can think about doing this is all the editing I need to do. Oh boy. I enjoy it, but I just don't feel like I have the time sometimes. Yeah, and help Andrew build his house. He works on digging his hole down to the middle of nowhere. Then Nash ends up summoning the Queen Bee again after we discover a pyramid under Andrew's house. He dies, unsurprisingly. See there, Andrew's in full golden armor, which I helped him get. We both end up teleporting home to work together to fight it, to try and get a better chance this time. Andrew, because of his armor, is able to stay alive long enough for me to respawn. By now, Nash has also respawned, and we are working together to try and fight the Queen Bee. I sped this clip up because leaving it at this normal pace was way too long. All those flares are Andrew's flare gun raining down. We all end up dying multiple times. You see, there's moments where the health stops, then a lot of health goes down, then someone dies. Then we get back together and light it up. Honestly, I don't know who would have done the most damage. I wish there was kind of a way to know who did the most work against it, but you can't exactly. I end up giving Andrew the bee gun, as he is the marksman, the quote-unquote marksman for the game. We kind of went the D&D style thing where Ash is barbarian, Andrew's the marksman, what's it called? Gunslinger for D&D, and I am the wizard. Then, after doing that, we decided, for fighting bosses in the future, we'd stay away from the main house, so I went ahead and built a miniature boss arena. Put some gravestones in there because I thought it'd be neat to have, like, the graveyard biome for fighting the bosses, as we're probably going to die a lot and make a lot of gravestones against some of the harder bosses. Go back into the jungle to help with exploring with Nash. I believe he's got, like, an hour-long episode up at the moment. That is this. It's the third episode. This is me and him exploring the jungle for a bit. As it would end up, if you're looking for like the full Let's Play style where there's no editing or anything, that you definitely want to go to Nash's channel for that. I'll leave a link in the description. This is just me trying to fix audio problems as best I could. Then we get the Goblin Army. We have to start fighting them. And honestly, this is one fight that I'm not sure who did the most work. All I know is they were at one side of the house, I was at this side of the house, and I definitely helped my own. You see the demon scythe did a lot of work. I just ran back and forth, shot the demon scythe as much as I could, or cast it. And we ended up beating the goblin army. I convinced them to go fight the Eater of Worlds by running, basically saying, "Hey, follow me," and running all the way into the corruption and down, and beginning the fight. As I believe this is the first little bit where I get the first orb, and I already had broken one for getting Andrew a gun earlier on, before we could get him the mini shark, because we needed the arms dealer to get the mini shark, yada yada. Then I pop down here, and Eater of Worlds is summoned. At first I used my mace a little bit, then I realized it's not the best weapon I have, and I end up, I believe, switching over to the demon scythe. Yep, there it is. And as you see, that does a lot of work. Unfortunately, the audio's gone for this, but Andrew eventually kind of just stops, as you can see. He just stands there and watches as even Nash admits, I pretty much destroyed the Eater of Worlds by myself with the demon scythe. And I end up laughing because Andrew's just like, well, they didn't have to do anything. And he was just surprised by the massive mound of crap that was. And then I derp and fall into a hole and die like an idiot again. We got, from beating the Goblin Army, I believe Nash is the one who found the Goblin Tinkerer tied up. And ended up moving into Andrew's place. I believe I borrowed some money to do this because I didn't have enough at the time. And I buy both the rocket boots and the table, and I sold a ton of my stuff to him to get it. And I mean an absolute ton of my stuff to get it. And I also go over to the dye trader and I buy the dye vat, because my thing is I'm trying to get all of the tables and everything. And my end goal plan is to eventually have the cell phone. Nash is going to try to get there's a certain blade, I can't remember the name of it. And I'm going to try to also get Andrew the Terra Spark boots. So we each get like one super rare item by the end of the season. See, they're down there and they're full, what is it called? Shadow Scale armor, which I don't have Shadow Scale armor. I'm wearing the hat and the robe, not as cosmetics. I think at this point I had no armor still. But it was kind of following the theme of me being the wizard, is for me to have... No, right, Andrew found a slime pet thing that allows him to jump on top of things and do damage, so he was greatly entertained by that. But I, kind of following the joking theme of me being the wizard, D&D style, I intentionally wear very little armor, and I try to focus on getting things that increase magic damage. So, actually I think at this point I did have some jungle armor, because it did increase magic damage. But that was it. It's not that good. It's not as good as the armor they have. Defense-wise, Andrew being the gunslinger, he kind of get whatever armor he wants. Not necessarily said to him having to wear less or more armor. Just that, and he probably wouldn't want to anyway. He ends up giving me money, so I end up buying the rocket boots, as I've already got the boots of Hermes, so I go ahead and make the Spectre boots. Yep. Bounce back to here. Making a table and chair. Oh, right, I'm trying to make spaces for different NPCs to move in. As you see, I've got the fisherman, the demolition man, and the hairdresser, I do believe it was. And the gunslinger moved into my room, of all places. And yes, I end up finding the tavern keep, whose name is Blacksmith, so it's really confusing. and I end up like talking with him. You can pause and read the little text things if you want. And this is where we are going to get access to the Eternia crystal and the Ancient Ones fight. And I have a idea for how I want to change the boss arena you saw earlier to include the Eternia crystal, more banners, and it's going to be bigger probably. Which, another thing, I don't know if you ever see it, but we work on stacking. Oh, this was the first Blood Moon event. I decided to keep a clip of this. This is our very first Blood Moon event. It wasn't anything insanely interesting. But anyway, back to the arena. Plan on trying to get trying to get all the banners in the game so that we can have increased buff against anything that's not the boss that we're fighting. And then we're also going to try to get like stacked health regen, stacked mana regen, or things like the star lanterns and the heart lanterns and campfires. I actually don't know if they legitimately stack or if I'm just an idiot, but if I remember right, they do stack. I feel like that was Andrew asking for something from me. Yes, it was. He wanted something, and I didn't want to give it to him, whatever it was. I ended up giving it to him. And I get myself the magic cuffs, because I had a mana regeneration band, a regeneration band, and a shackle. There's everything you need to make the magic cuffs, which, being the wizard, they help. I get mana back when I get hurt, so essentially I take damage, I can do more damage faster if I run out of mana, which does happen. At this point, we don't have a ton of... I don't have a ton of the spells that I have now. I guess as you would put them, spells or magic items. This was our first foray into the hell area. It does not go well. We died a lot, just first time down there, kind of starting to explore. You see, I've got an obsidian skull. I believe I still needed to give Nash at the point, and I was trying to get him over there so I could give it to him. That's right, I'm the only one with a pickaxe that can actually mine hellstone. It's kind of a weird thing. They have the better armor, but I have the better tools. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about super episodes now, as this is kind of, I think, what the rest of this is just us being in this area. Super episodes are kind of supposed to be me taking a bunch of stuff that happened over a lot of time that wasn't particularly interesting or had any actual work done, such as how we have, a lot of like running around, exploring, and grinding to do in Terraria. There is a lot of footage that is just us running around. Now, if you are fine with watching that, or you maybe are watching this to fall asleep, go over to Nashman's channel. I believe he's got a playlist of this, and just go ahead and start going. And start at the top, watch them all the way through. I personally wanted to edit this a little bit more just because of the fact that there is a ton of Terraria footage. I have probably still remaining easily 6 to 7 hours of footage left to go through. I don't know the exact amount. I'm guessing 6 is probably what it is. I end up giving Nash a obsidian skull there because he needs it for standing on Hellstone. I don't know how the second one's going to turn out, as this was kind of like a test run for this. I probably will do it in every season. Even if I don't have audio issues, I'll try to every once in a while just do a clip set that is just this sort of thing. As you see here, this is the first, well, not the first, but probably the largest, closest to the surface one I get into. of the fortresses or whatever they are. I honestly don't know what they're called. At this point, I had thought I lost my my book, and that's why I was down there, and we ended up spending hours, probably, well, not hours, but probably an hour and a half down there, trying to get another Demon Scythe book, and then I find out where I left it on accident. It's kind of frustrating to discover that. And where I left it wasn't actually, it was actually a very hard spot to see, as it was that little item frame sort of thing. I don't remember its exact name, but it wasn't like the weapon display. It was more like an accessory display, and I somehow put it in there, so it was so tiny that I missed it every time. Until eventually I looked and I was like, wait, why is that purple? I thought I had the regeneration band in there. When I got the regeneration band to make the shackles, now that I think about it, I'll guarantee you that's when I did that. But that is the end of this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Go ahead, like, subscribe if you want to. Not going to make you. Get some other videos there. Got a playlist for you to pick from there, which would be this one. Duh. And hope you're having a good day in what's been going on lately. And I will catch you in the next one.